everyone, welcome to Spiritual Vertigo Tarot. This reading is going to be for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I'm going to start the reading with a light shuffle, and then I'm going to proceed with some sound therapy, tune into your energy. If this video resonates with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow the channel. And also make sure to check other aspects of your chart, such as your moon and your rising and Jupiter. There's a link on the description box for you to figure that out if you don't already. Started. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. The bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. Messages for Scorpio for the month of August, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, please, Spirit. And messages for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Six of Cups. Messages for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Messages for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Seven of Cups. Messages for Scorpios. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Six of Wands. Look at this progression. 2, 6, 6, 7, 5, 6. You guys are, you're moving forward. That's that Nine of Cups. Look at that. The synchronicities, guys. Oof, this is going to be a heavy reading. Messages for Scorpio, August, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. The World. Oh, beautiful. Scorpio. Oh. I think a lot of you are reminiscing the past. I think some of you might be reconnecting with past lovers, or with your family, or connections with friends, or trying to amend some. I think your relationships are going to be in a focus this upcoming month. Possibly some friends that you've lost touch with, family members that you've had difficult connections with, and you're trying to navigate away and come out of some conflict. I think that maybe some of you in July had some fights, or you cut some ties with friends and family or relationships that might have been toxic, and you might have moved away and chose your own happiness. And now you're reflecting back on the things that initially brought you joy, that sparked that inner child within you, and now you're trying to create a new environment that suits that. Maybe you've been confused about what it is exactly that brings you happiness in your relationships, and now this upcoming August, I think you're going to be striving towards trying to get away from that energy. I do think that you might have suffered a loss of some sort. I mean, from the 5 to the 6 of Cups, and you're making that journey back to yourself. I think now it's about going from the 6 to the 7 of Cups. It's returning back to your center core, to your heart, to your home, to your inner child, and then being able to look at your options and what's available from a more authentic point of view that represents who you are. And maybe that is actually having to deal with your friendships, your relationships, that you've lost touch with the things that actually brought you happiness, and you've been offered so many things that don't align. And to get the 7 of Cups in a reading, it's an emphasis on you needing to see clearly the visions in your imagination and in your future. But you should be careful of being stuck in the dream realm and not in the 5D. I think sometimes we can get lost in our head and move towards illusions, and I think that that's what you're trying to avoid, because possibly some past connections in your relationships were based on superficial means that didn't actually align with you. So I think it's about, at one point in your life, you need to stop fantasizing and reminiscing on the past and start heading towards the future. And I think that's what it's symbolizing. I mean, that you see this progression from 6 to 7, from 5 to 6, the 6 to the 7. Each card goes from, it's a progression to a series of lessons that you might be having to reflect on this August. But I think this August you will reach that point, but I do think that you have to make that put in that effort to move away from conflict and deception and things that don't align with you, if you really do want to manifest and close out a cycle of toxic and underappreciating relationships, possibly. And it's also showing that in some ways that you might be living not necessarily grounded in your real life, and that your actions are possibly guided by illusions of yourself or of people. And so you need to feed yourself the right information and feed your soul that, because your relationships will reflect your internal state of being. And so I think now you're trying to nurture yourself so that your relationships and your environment reflect a better image of who you are, and put an end to that. I'm going to go ahead and clarify some of these cards. Clarify this 5 of Wands. Scorpio, clarify this 5 of Wands. Clarify the 5 of Wands. Look at that. The 5 of Wands and the 5 of Pentacles. I think these numbers are significant for you. Possibly maybe between 6 and from 5 to 7 weeks, months, days, something significant. You need to start reflecting on that period, what happened 5 or 7 months ago. I think that there was a significant event that might have been turbulent, that something came to an end and you had to walk away. I mean, I mean, the Five of Pentacles is about hardships. It's loneliness. It's mental illness. There's something rather painful might have occurred 5 months ago, possibly. Possibly to do with your relationships and the people in maybe around 5-7 months ago, you were in a relationship that had to end because of infidelity. And the person might have had other people of interests. Let me get more clarifiers. Clarify the Seven of Swords. Clarify the Seven of Swords. Judgment, yeah. And yeah. Bottom of the deck, we have the King of Pentacles. Maybe it was a Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus that you were involved with. I mean, the Judgment is about reflection. It's what you would imagine the Last Judgment call would be, and I think that this is significant. What happened 5 to 7 months ago, 5 to 7 weeks, days, you know better than I do, is something that you should be reflecting on in August. And I think you need to understand and really go in and evaluate that lesson or that experience and heal from that, because that's the only way that you'll be able to close out that cycle and move forward towards your fulfillment. It's the only way. I think you really need to reflect on what happened within either this connection, this relationship, or within your environment and your family. I mean, the Judgment is it means to focus on that moment and reflect and evaluate yourselves and those actions that you took. Because it's only through self-reflection that you can have a clear objective and understanding about what it is that you need to be focusing now in your current reality. But for me, when the Judgment comes in a reading, it's signifying that there's a point in your life where you have to start to evaluate yourself and you need to be true to yourself and your needs. And I think that's where the Seven of Cups is. And so whether that is exploring other avenues of fulfillment, whether it's a career, if this is career related, maybe you lost your job, and now you're looking in to see and nurture your inner child and maybe pursue a career that actually resonates with who you are and what you want in your life and those dreams. Because I feel you very dreamy state in this like mental evaluation and thinking about the past. And I think for you to be able to go from that past and let go of that past that's anchoring you and move toward the future that actually brings you success and happiness, you might have to heal something significant that happened around this time, around 5 to 7 months ago. I'm going to clarify the Seven of Cups. The Wheel of Fortune, yeah. Clarify the Six of Swords. Ooh, Page of Swords. Then Knight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I mean, I think the Wheel of Fortune is about cycles. I think this cycle of maybe this has been an ongoing, repetitive cycle in your life about your relationships that you're evaluating, and you're like, you know what, I always end up in these situations where I get left out, where people deceive me, where people don't nurture me the way I nurture them, and maybe there's something that I need to do to better myself and ensure that the people that I engage with don't continue to do this. Otherwise, I'm never going to be able to fully have a connection that is long standing. And I think that life is about cycles of both good and bad. And we can't always control the outcomes of these, but we can control the way that we process them in our present reality. I mean, the lesson here is that like life is full of unexpected changes, and that love, relationships are no different from that. Possibly this also could mean that you are going to be nurturing your relationship, that there is highs and lows in a past lover, and maybe you will be going back to and healing a past relationship and moving victoriously into it. It really can be. And it might have been as a result from you choosing yourself again. And this might have awakened something within this connection that actually made it possible for it to grow and spin the wheel, you know? You know, the commitment that you had with yourself or with your relationship or with a specific partner may have been tested, and both of you had to become closer with, and maybe reflecting at yourself and really dissected things in your relationship that were just not working, whether that was infidelity, whether that was jealousy, it was people in your life that you allowed to intervene in your relationship, or whether that was the fact that maybe both of you needed to go and heal certain aspects of your past traumas in order for this relationship to actually heal and move forward. But your luck is going to change if it hasn't already. And possibly around July, this is when you saw this reflect. Maybe 7. Maybe in July is when you actually started to recognize that there was a possibility for a cycle to end. And the judgment came. That's 7 of Swords, yeah. The judgment. You have 2 major arcana clarifying the 7s. So I think that July, something came to light and you had to reflect because there was some deception, and the judgment call came and put a spotlight on this relationship, but it changed for the better. And I think that there's a possibility that you might have actually returned to a relationship that had ended. Maybe you got some clarity on some information that you needed. I mean, the Page of Swords is about, it's like the spying card. This is the one where like, I'm looking through your DMs, you know? This is like the jealous girlfriend that looks through the phone, you know what I mean? But it also is about, this is also about news. This is information that you came to like, something brought you clarity. For you to be able to go from the 6 to the 7 of Swords, I think you got some information possibly in June. And maybe you were starting to feel in June this pull about the past, and maybe started reflecting on your relationship, and you received some information. Maybe they reached out to you around that time, or they came to visit you. And there was a conversation, there's some conversation that erupted. Maybe in May, your relationship was tested. And then in June, there was an initial conversation. I feel drawn to these numbers because you can see like there's 6s, there's 2 6s, there's 2 5s, there's 2 7s. That period seems to be highlighted here, and there's a message for someone. I mean, when the page appears, this is when it's time for communication. It's about opening up and talking about things in a constructive manner. It's about confrontations too. I mean, maybe that's when you faced the reality about a relationship or about your relationships in general. I'm going to clarify the world. Clarify the world. For Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Clarify the world. The world. One more. Why? The world. Why? Clarify the world card. Six of Pentacles. Yeah. Oh, Eight of Cups. You walked away. You held back your energy. You decided, look at that, the Four of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and then the Ten of Swords, preceded by the world. I mean, the world is the completion of a cycle. It is an ending. It's also the travel card, but you have two completing cycles. So an end as a result from you withholding your energy and going within. Yeah, I mean, this is important for you to know. I think that you had to go within and reflect during that period, maybe in July. And you, with the Four of Pentacles, it signifies that you might have had to evaluate the value of things in your life, whether that's the value of your love that you give to other people that don't seem to be reciprocated, because the Six of Pentacles is the breadcrumbing. It's that, you know, I'm going to hold back my love or my affection or my worth or my time, my energy to people who always give me just Six of Pentacles and Five of Pentacles. I mean, look at that. You have 4, 5, 6. And I think that initial realization really brought about some clarity, and you're like, you know what, that was the toxic cycle of mine. I gave too much to people who did not deserve that. And I think that nurtured that created a conversation that you were forced to have with the people in your life, either those are friendships, family, or a specific person, a love relationship. That initial conversation was essentially what got you to feel successful and at peace again. Because you walked away. You walked away. All right, clarify the Sun card. There's a Sun card here. Ooh, oh, that's too many. Clarify the Sun card for Scorpio, August 2020. Sun Rising. Yeah, that came out again. Four of Wands. The Five of Cups. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you came home to yourself. But there's also the possibility that you might have actually been able to heal a relationship that might have been toxic, because you came to the realization what toxic repeated mental cycles and in your relationships you were nurturing that were not yielding you enough to make you feel fulfilled. And because you came and you stood your ground and you were victorious with that, I do think that there was a possibility that you could have had a reconciliation, maybe with an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I'm getting Sag and Leo heavily. And I think that is why you've been avoiding this conflict and this confrontation, but it was exactly what you needed to do. And it might have been painful, and around the last 3 months, I have a feeling these past 3 months have been very heavy for you, and you've been having to reflect and go within and nurture your emotions and nurture your connections. But I do get a feeling that at the end of August, maybe at the end of August, you're going to get, your luck is going to change, and you're possibly going to go back and heal these relationships, either with yourself or stability. I mean, Four of Wands, I mean, we have heavy family cards. Possibly this is a marriage. that you might have considered ending or might have ended, but you nurtured it back to health after you addressed the toxic things and the cycles that were not allowing this relationship to continue to prosper. And there was, but the Four of Wands, it's about harmony, it's happy, it's a home environment, it's stable, it's stability, it's foundation, it's friends and family, it's oftentimes a perfect period where you get together again with the people or family. So maybe there's a possibility that around your birthday there's some special occasion that's going to allow you to move away from all this heavy baggage from the past and just move forward with healthy connections again. But that's beautiful. I do think that the final message here really for Scorpios this month is think about what happened around May. Reflect on that experience if this hasn't happened to you already. And maybe it was a past relationship or it was connections, and ask yourself, why do I keep giving to people that don't give me anything in return, that only breadcrumb me? And I do think that that there's some information that was important, that allowed you to move away from that energy and confront either these people or a specific person and heal from that. And I think that because of that event, maybe in July, around this time when I'm recording, this could be happening. You're going to be able to move away from that pain and actually be happy with the people in your life and that reflect you, that finally be able to give you just as much as you give to them. All right, I'm going to end the reading with some advice from Spirit. I'm going to use the same deck because I don't necessarily like oracle cards. I think they're a little cheesy. But just some take-home messages for Scorpio. What can you take from this reading? I like to close it off that way. What is the advice and last messages for Scorpio for the month of August? Final messages and advice for Scorpio. Ooh, jumpy. Final messages. The Empress. Final messages for Scorpio. Advice and final messages for Scorpio. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Empress, this is about going into and channeling your femininity. Maybe you need to nurture your relationship with your mother. Maybe this entire conflict has actually been with family because there's heavy family energy here. There's been a lot of heavy energies with the home. And maybe you need to nurture your family dynamic. But this is about getting in touch with your sensuality so that you can attract the circumstances in your life that bring you joy. It's also an indication of pregnancy and motherhood. So maybe some of you are parents. If not, I think that you need to be mindful in August that you're being too restless. I mean, I felt the energy too. It's like very jumpy and like, I think that there's a lot of healing. Yeah, look at that. Three of Swords. And the Knight of Cups. Look at that. Yeah. I think that it's important for you to notice and highlight in August that heartbreak is inevitable and pain is inevitable. That life is a series of highs and lows. However, suffering is a choice. And I think that your choice in the month of August is to accept and come to terms with what have happened in the past and nurture yourself and these relationships are there of value to you. But also recognize that you have a sense of worth that is not to be tampered with, that your love and that you give to other people is of value, and hold that value, and have these expectations from the people that you are trying to, that you engage with your relationships, and demand that, and cut out any of these toxic people, or reflect on the people in your life that might have been toxic and cut those out. I think that's the final message for Scorpio. Know your worth. Know that your love is worth a lot, and expect that from other people, specifically a love relationship. If this is for love, cut those out, find clarity, confront the situation head on, so that you can move past this and this heartbreak. And you see, and I think that a lot of you might actually reconcile with your lovers, and an offer will be given. That was the first card, remember? All right, Scorpios, I hope this message resonated with you. Make sure to check your other sign, your moon and your rising, if this doesn't resonate with you. And feel free to like, share, and subscribe if the messages did align with your circumstances. But comment. I'd like to know more about what you guys are going through, and see if these messages offered you some light. Thank you.